Hi, everybody. This is Love Him, Love Them with Linda Gunner, where we give hope, touch lives, and change hearts. You little demon. Has anybody ever have you ever called your kids, you little demon? Have y'all, do you ever use that word? I used to say that. She's a little demon. Do you know that now there is a brand new television show out called Little Demon? Have y'all seen it? Some senator or congressman or something or other, I think it was during the Super Bowl, saw the commercial for Little Demon and freaked out and put a Facebook post up, and the whole world fell apart about this show. So have you seen it? If you've seen it, tell me. If you haven't seen it or you haven't heard about it, I want you to listen to me because I want you to understand what's happening. So witchcraft in the Bible, there's scriptures on witchcraft and there's scriptures on magic. Do y'all know that? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So this is very, very important. I want you to stick with me till the end so that you can understand this. The worship and seeking of supernatural powers other than God. There are other powers, by the way. Astral projecting. I've got kids from my orphanages in Haiti who have literally looked out their window and watched people turn into wolves. They've seen it happen with their own eyes. Satan has used witchcraft to prevent people from finding holy spirituality in God alone. Satan uses witchcraft. Do you know what witchcraft is? Witchcraft is manipulation. Keep that in the back of your mind while we talk about this. He uses witchcraft such as mediums, horoscopes. Listen to me clearly, people. Horoscopes. And games to entice people. Remember them little things in the Chinese restaurant when you open up that little sugar cookie? I love those little sugar cookies. He uses witchcraft, mediums, horoscopes, and games to entice people away from God and toward a power that gives him enlightenment. This is where we are living in the United States of America today. Everybody is looking for enlightenment. Everybody is looking for this power. The Bible often speaks on the consequences of following those false idols and falsehood. I'm going to share some scriptures with you, and you're going to understand the importance of seeking God alone. Because I want to say that the biggest reason that our kids, not just our kids, there's people my age, I'm 24, that are seeking the supernatural, and they're seeking it because they're seeing results where they're not seeing results in the church and healing. That's one of the main reasons we have the show Miracles with Mommy Linda, so you can see the powerful results of what happens with the Most High God. 1 Chronicles 10:13, Saul died because he was unfaithful to the Lord. He did not keep the word of the Lord, and he even consulted a medium for guidance. That's in the Old Testament. That's a long time ago. Leviticus 19:31, do not turn to mediums or seek out spiritists, for you will be defiled by them. Okay, so if you're here, I've had this conversation so many times. Is it okay for me to go to a palm reader? Is it okay for me to have tarot cards read? No. It says right here, you're going to be defiled by them. Galatians, okay, some people will be like, well, that's in the Old Testament. All right, let's go to the New Testament. Galatians 5. The acts of the flesh are obvious: sexual immorality, impurity, debauchery, idolatry, and witchcraft, which, by the way, witchcraft is right beside hatred and right beside discord. So if you are jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, dissensions, and factions. So if you're on here and you are all about, I can't believe they're doing witchcraft, you may want to check yourself on the hatred, the discord, and the jealousy and the fits of rage. Just saying, because they're right there in the same verse together. And now we have the movie Little Demon. Let me enlighten you on what this movie is about. A 13-year-old, after being impregnated by Satan, the reluctant mother Laura and her Antichrist daughter Chrissy attempt to live an ordinary life in Delaware. But they're constantly thwarted by monstrous forces, including Satan, who yearns for custody of his daughter's soul. And there you have it. Disney is trying to portray witchcraft as a positive tool to fight evil. The first episode of Little Demon is more than enough for most Christian families. This is what blows my mind. I mean, I just want to say this. Like, I just want to say this part, okay? Like, how much discernment does it really take to decide whether or not your child should go see a movie called Little Demon? And yet the statistics show that most Christian families were able to discern after the first episode that Little Demon is an extremely dangerous series. You know, the first episode, this is not a movie, this is a series. Yeah, so you get more and more and more. It is referring to the initial episode, the premiere season. It's called First Blood, and that's still streaming. You can look it up now. In all seriousness, how much discernment does it take? How is it that only most Christian families, how is it that most Christians would need to even watch it without just being able to discern that from the title? That tells you a whole lot about where we're at in our society today. Desensitization to the demon is an effort to make something that is not normal, normal. And Christians are being told not to react to this, right? We're being told, you better be careful, you're going to get canceled. You better be careful, you don't want to say anything about this, you don't want to upset anybody. So what is the motive of Disney for doing this? It's actually FXX, I think is what it's called, which is a subsidiary of Disney. You know, the lead actress that plays Laura, her name is Aubrey Plaza. Do you know she's actually a pagan? I'll never forget the first time I heard the word pagan. We were on the choir tour with 30 kids from one of our orphanages in Haiti, and we were in West Virginia, and it was me, Bianca. Oh, I can't remember all the girls. I think there were like 6 girls with me. And for whatever reason, just myself and those 6 girls ended up going to Walmart. And while we were checking out, the cashier, which was a guy, for some reason, Bianca invited him to come to our concert that night. We were singing that night at a church around the corner. And he answered back to her and said, "I'm not coming to a church. I'm a pagan." And she stood right there and put her hands on him and said, "Let me pray for you." I didn't even know what the word pagan meant, but Bianca had obviously heard it somehow in Haiti. And pagans do not believe in Jesus Christ. Let me just make it that simple. But this girl is a pagan, and she's a witch. And she is even saying in interviews about the series Little Demon, how very, very glad she is that we are normalizing paganism and demons. She said it's finally about time. You know, another problem with Little Demon is the main character is in middle school. So another issue with that is that the entire series episodes are done in a cartoon format, right? So they're filled with images that are absolutely atrocious. But they're done in a way that it's supposed to be sort of humorous, kind of like a joke. But again, it's all a matter of desensitization. And there's more and more about murder. We're going to talk about that in a minute. You know, the occultic content is everywhere. I want you to understand something. We are not fighting against atheism. We are fighting against New Age. We really are. And you have to remember that the devil comes as an angel of light. You know, there are Ouija boards right now in local bookstores. I was just in North Carolina for, the celebration of my brother-in-law's life because he was diagnosed with cancer last year and everybody thought that the outcome was not going to be that good. So here we were a year later. He's alive. He's well. He's cancer-free. And we were up there. And I think we got there a little early or something, so we went to a Barnes & Noble. I was sitting there having a cup of coffee, and right to my right was a list of books, and it said right there, how to cast spells. How to cast spells. And the next row over is there's shelves with Bibles on them at Barnes & Noble. They have a religious section too. But now there are Ouija boards mixed in with the games at the bookstores, right? There are, or even at the grocery store, there are magazines. There are things that are filled with tarot cards. Do you know that there are now tarot cards for kids? Do you know that? I was at Cracker Barrel maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. It was sometime around Halloween, and there were gummy bears that says, eat these and learn how to cast spells on your friends. Gummy bears. There's palm readings. There's yoga everywhere. There's crystals. I was on a Clubhouse show the other day. That's a social media app where you can't see the people, but you can hear them. And one of the ladies was talking. She actually came onto me directly and said, I would like to create a bracelet that would have some crystals in it for positive energy for you to help you with your kids in Haiti. Now, it's easy to say in today's world about that everybody wants to be spiritual. There's before you had to be careful if you wanted to say I'm a Christian. Everybody is fine with saying, even the crystals in the bracelet. It's a very spiritual thing to have positive energy and positive vibes, right? But nobody wants to be a Christian because the thing that's missing from the spirituality today is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is not anywhere to be found. And little demons is an attempt to desensitize us to Satan. It is very disturbing that a witch mates with Satan. This is the premise of this. A witch mates with Satan, and that is what's headlining in our media right now. Witchcraft, violence, themes of evil, and Satan and murder is not a joke. It's not a joke. The fact that the movie is animated is even scarier because the series is focused on a 13-year-old girl whose father is Satan, and she's supposed to be the Antichrist. And now, so because it's animated, even though they're saying it is adult content, I mean, that's because of the animation of it. When the kids are scrolling past it, they're watching it. It is a hook. Because of the animation is a hook to get our kids into Satanism. You know, I've told you this before. The Church of Satan is the third fastest growing church in America. And I want you to listen to these stats. By age 17, I have a 17-year-old. Our kids have spent 64,000 hours on social media. 64,000. They've spent 18,000 hours in school, and that is to be compared with 1,000 hours, or maybe a couple thousand if it's a different type of family, with their parents. 64,000 hours on social media, 18,000 hours in school, and a couple of thousand hours with their parents. Here's the point. And we just had a show about this, about Elf on the Shelf, and how parents use Elf on the Shelf to discipline their children and to get them to do what they want to do because it's too difficult to instill self-control. Without the skills to know how to use self-control with media, you can see how easy it is for kids to fall into this trap. And that particular series, that movie, has full front nudity, explicit, foul, and vulgar and jaded language, cultist imagery, and really sick and demonic influence. These are things that Olive Garden, T-Mobile, Burger King, all of them stopped their ads, praise God, when they figured out that these parts were in this movie. The parent company, which is FXX, the parent company to that is Disney. And parents, we really, really, really need to get this. Because the about face that Disney has done since their original announcement, originally Disney said that they were going to add all these other networks, and they said that they would not have R-rated movies. They would not have extremely mature content. That's on Hulu and Disney Plus. Listen to me. I am warning you. Get away and get off of Disney. Get it out of the reach of your kids. The key is to find the companies that are underwriting this content. But my advice to parents is you've got to guard your children. You've got to limit the number of devices and TV sets in your home and the ways that kid can access the content. You've got to figure out how to use parental controls. Being a parent in today's world is completely different. The requirements and the things that we need to do because of what is coming into, we don't have to worry about whether they're sneaking out on Friday night to go to the movies. They could be going to their bedroom. You could be sending them to their bedroom and they could be watching this. Chanting, communication with ancestors. Number one, parents do not seem to understand that watching this type of show with these elements of magic and make-believe. Here's what happened. And I had this experience whenever I was on the road with the choir. So we had a bus. I was the bus driver, the speaker. I don't really want to tell you everything that I did, but one of the things I did was drive the bus. So we had 30 kids on this bus traveling up and down the East Coast as the Haitian Orphan Children's Choir. The first year, we didn't speak Creole. They didn't speak English. So we were looking for videos that we could play on the television on the bus to keep them occupied, right? Sometimes we were traveling 4, 5, 6 hours from one gig to the next, one church to the next. And and these CDs were donated by churches, or not CDs, DVDs, were donated by churches, were donated by godly Christian families, as far as I knew. But I could hear just a little bit. I wasn't close enough to hear everything, but I could hear, and I would hear the Lord's name taken in vain. I would see there was something about Frozen with magic where they were breaking people up. There was, I could go on and on and on. But every single time I would have to call a choir mom up and say, take that out, toss it, break it, throw it away. Because that's what happened. Little bits of magic. They used that to desensitize us. And so now we were okay with the magic, and now and the make-believe, and now it's okay because they got away with that, but now they've gone too far, and we're still accepting it. Spiritual content alone. Let's just take Jesus out of the picture. Forget about if we want to have Christian principles and morals. The show Little Demon, if you just look at that from a secular perspective, it is not appropriate for children. If you take the demonic realm that is shown in this show, it's because what used to be offensive to Christians, now we just ignore it. We just ignore it. Do you remember, I'm showing my age, but you guys, this has happened in our lifetime. When, what was it called? The Lucille Ball show, or Ricky Ricardo. Isn't Ricky Ricardo Lucille's husband? Yeah. So whenever we were little, they were married. And when they showed them in their bedroom, they were in 2 single beds. They weren't even allowed to show a married couple. I know some of you kids are going, do what? They were not even allowed to show a married couple in the same bed. So this has happened on our watch. This has happened in our lifetime. And why? Because nobody's saying anything about it. Now nobody wants to be canceled. For heaven's sakes, if you say anything about the spiritual world or the demonic realm or what should or should not be happening. But nobody's concerned about having kids watch things with full nudity, with murder, with all of these demonic things. It's okay to say that, but it's not okay to say it's not okay. It's not okay. It is not okay. There are Ouija boards among the games at Barnes and Nobles. There are books on how to cast out spells at the bookstore, and nobody seems to care a thing about it. We just keep going in there. When was the last time I didn't say anything to the people at Barnes and Noble. I was in shock. I was in so much shock, I didn't even know what to think. No one seems to mind that Disney represents every single culture. They represent every religion. But when was the last time you saw a Disney movie about Christians? When has there ever been a little Christian girl? There's actually an editor for Teen Vogue right now. That's a magazine. And she is a well-known witch. She gives articles in Teen Vogue telling our kids how to become a witch. Sorcery and witchcraft is banned straight from the Word of God. God has told us it is possible to be in relationships with them, but the problem occurs when there's mixing. Do you understand what I'm saying? Christians, let me give you a couple examples of that. This is mixing. Christians who are reading their Bible, but also reading their horoscopes. That's mixing, okay? Christians who are believing in healing and deliverance, but they're burning sage to clean their homes. My son, Fred, came to me recently and showed me this video of this, I want to say it was an NFL football player, soccer player, I don't know, somebody that was a big sports guy. And he said, Mommy Linda, I'm so confused because he always is talking about Jesus and he's always talking about spiritual things. But he also, I think he sells sage maybe. He was like, what is sage? What is that for? Is that in the Bible? Fred is probably the one that makes me the most aware of things that are going on social media that are very confusing. They're very mixed. That's the New Age. They mix in just enough spirituality to really confuse you. And so it seems like because they're talking about spirit things, that, okay, crystals should be okay, yoga should be okay, horoscopes should be okay. I even had a lady, I think I told you guys about this at a church I spoke at a while back, that because this is what our book is about. Our new book, Choir of Angels, talks all about this. Talks all about miracles, talks all about the actual situations that we had. It's the movie Little Demon, but in real life. Okay. So if you want to see some miraculous things that happened in our lives of how we learned how to deal with the demonic realm, you need to get this book. I can guarantee you it's better than the movie. God has told us it's possible to be in relationships with them, but it's not possible to do the mixing. There are Christians who go to church on Sunday, but they're taking yoga classes or they're looking at tarot cards. There is a mixing, and that's a hot mess. You know, Acts 16 talks about the story of the fortune teller. Do you guys remember that story? I was just in Greece recently with my daughter, and I actually got to go. I think it was in Thessaloniki or in Ephesus. I can't remember which place this is. But I actually got to see right where the girl, she was a fortune teller. So she was going around making tons and tons. It was in Ephesus. She was making tons and tons of money for these people, following Paul and Silas around, telling everybody that they were of the Most High God. And Paul finally one day just got sick and tired of it and turned around and cast the demon out. That fortune telling is not a gift from God. If it was, Paul wouldn't have been able to cast that demon out of that girl. And she never, ever did fortune telling again once that demon was gone. It was a demonic thing. All right, so let's get back to the plot of this movie. We're running out of time. The whole movie is to teach our kids the massive ritual. In Daniel, it talks about a song that will play. In Daniel 3, I want to read it to you. It says, as soon as you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, you must fall down and worship the image of gold that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. There is a song in this movie that they fall down and bow down and worship. And statistics show, there are reports that the kids who are watching this movie are watching it 3 to 5 times a day. Literally, they have it on repeat. It's mesmerizing them. You know, the New Age movement is an enduring facet of American culture. We spend billions of dollars every year on fortune telling, tarot cards, astrology, channeling, cryptozoology. Look that one up. That'll freak you out a little bit. And hundreds of other dubious and ineffective methods and trinkets. You know, when I just talked about when I was in Greece. When I was in Greece, there's an evil eye. It's on, you can't walk into it. I mean, literally right outside of where John the Revelator wrote Revelation. I sat there and looked out the window of exactly what he was looking at when he wrote the book of Revelation. Right beside it in the gift shop is the evil eye, the demonic eye of, you talk about everywhere, it's everywhere. Even in all this waste of good money, it all seems like a harmless little hobby. That lady that was selling the crystals for the energy and the vibes, at least it keeps people busy, right? It provides them with some semblance of spirituality. My question to you is it so harmless? Because the New Age movement is unquestionably the glue that holds the core of the anti-life movement. I just had a friend, one of our choir moms today, who just had twins. One of them weighs 1.9 pounds. One of them weighs 2 pounds. Her name is Elena. She was a mom to our 30 kids. And as of today, she became a mom to 2 brand new little babies. They have a rough road ahead of them, but God is going to protect them. And she has an army of prayer warriors behind her. But this whole New Age movement doesn't care about life. They don't care. It is perhaps Satan's most devastatingly effective weapon because it allows the antithesis of Christianity. Christians allow themselves to be controlled and led by the supernatural, in their case, Jesus Christ. But New Age devotes, on the other hand, seek the opposite, to control the supernatural. What New Age practitioners, if you're on here and you're listening and you're New Age, the part you don't understand is that it is Satan who's doing the controlling. It's not you. And the reward he has in store for his slavish followers is too hideous for you to ever contemplate. I have a list here of, let's see, page 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. I'm going to ask if Michael or DJ will post this with you. I'm going to ask you to pray for the people that are involved in this television episode. I'm going to list you just a few people. This season we'll encounter the voices of Mel Brooks, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Will Jackson Harper, Pamela Adlon, Ray Perlman, Shangela Patrick Wilson. It is pages and pages of the cast members and the producers and the characters. Danny DeVito is the voice of Satan. Sam Richardson stars. I wanted to tell you the name of the production company too. I believe it is, I can't remember the name of it, but what I want you to remember is this. There's power in prayer, and we do have to fight back. And the best way that we as believing believers can fight back is, first of all, fight back for our homes. Many of you have heard me talk about these tent stakes. These stakes that we have taken and we have staked out the country of Haiti. We've staked out our personal homes. There are verses on here, and they're available on our website, that are for protection. It's not gone too far. We have the ability to take things back, take our homes back, take our children back, take the land back. So I want you to know that as part of Love Him, Love Them, we want to come alongside you. We want to band together, not in hatred, but in love, to love Him and love them. We need to love these people in this movie. We need to pray for them. We need to pray that God will open up the eyes of their heart to see the demonic realm is not anything to play with. Satan does have power, not anything near what God has, because greater is He that is in us than he that is in the world.